This is one of those things where, and there's a lot of these this season where you look at it and your eyes don't want to process the message to your brain. Patriots 3-4, Jets 5-2. Surely that's a typo. It is not. But on top of that, Peter, despite the differences in records, the Patriots are 2.5-point favorites because the gambling public still looks at 3-4 Patriots, 5-2 Jets, and says, nah, that's not the way that the world is.
Mike, I demand that you stop calling me Shirley. However, I guess my biggest point on this would be that, in watching that Monday night game, and man, you and Sims must have had a field day on Tuesday morning dissecting a game in which the Chicago Bears scored 98 points against the Patriots, which was just, I was listening to that game a little bit on the radio because I was out and about doing some work out of the house. But what was amazing, at one point, Kevin Harlan and Kurt Warner on Westwood One were musing about when was the last time that the Chicago Bears scored on 5 consecutive possessions. And if you had told me that they would score on 5 consecutive possessions against a Belichick defense that was playing great, by the way, entering that game. And that is why, Mike, how can anybody gamble on the National Football League? It is insane. You shouldn't do that. Anyway, the one point I would make about your point and about the Patriots and the Jets this weekend is that, look, Bill Belichick handed the ball to Brady Zappi, okay, after a bad interception from Mac Jones. Whatever Belichick says, they both were going to play. Whatever it is, he handed the ball to Bailey Zappi. And in the deep recesses of his mind, he's thinking, okay, kid, show me you deserve this starting job. And Bailey Zappi went out and was great in the first couple of series, are pretty good. And then he basically, gave away his chance through 2 picks, was totally ineffective, couldn't get anything going. And so I kind of look at this right now and I say, Mac Jones now returning serve. All right, Mac Jones, it's your ball game now. It's your opportunity to win this job full time. Go out and do it Sunday in the Meadowlands.
And it's amazing to think that he even has to at this point. He was the 15th overall pick. The team went to the playoffs. Look, Peter, this is something Sims and I have been talking about. I've been hearing it for weeks now. There's some sort of dysfunction, tension, whatever, that is rooted in Josh McDaniels out as the offensive coordinator and primary tutor for Mac Jones, and this Frankenstein monster of Matt Patricia and Joe Judge becoming offensive coaches on the fly. It's a huge difference for Mac Jones, and I think that's created some consternation that has affected the relationship between Belichick and Jones. But we'll see. We'll see. Will he be on a short leash if he throws a couple of interceptions? I don't know. The only good news for Mac Jones is it's a road game, so he doesn't have to hear the fans chant for Bailey Zappi. Then again, after what we saw in the second half last week, maybe they won't be chanting for Bailey Zappi anymore.
Look, Mac Jones just has to forget all that stuff. And he was the classic underdog at Alabama. Everybody knows that Nick Saban never looked at this guy the way he looked at Jalen Hurts or Tua Tagovailoa. We know that, okay? But he fought his way into being a first-round pick in the NFL. And now he's got to ignore the noise. He's got to ignore people saying no touchdowns, 4 interceptions over the last 2 games. Shaky down the stretch of last year. Bad game in the playoffs, against Buffalo. He's got to ignore all that. And he's got to be the rock-solid, steely guy that the Patriots thought they had, around mid-season last year, when he stepped in and basically in all ways looked like a worthy heir to Tom Brady. Not like Tom Brady Jr., but a worthy heir to Tom Brady. So if Mac Jones is really good, he's going to ignore all that crap, and he's going to come out and play well. And he's got to play well on Sunday to basically show Bill Belichick whatever it is. Coaches leave all the time. You can't use that as an excuse. And coaches leave all the time. And I just look at New England right now as needing one of these guys to step up. Mac Jones, your turn Sunday in the Meadowlands.
And Peter, it's a great point. I mean, this is like a mental toughness litmus test. And if you can't deal with this, you're never going to be able to deal with the pressure in the postseason, something Tom Brady was so adept at for all of his years with the Patriots. You mentioned the Bears scoring on 5 straight possessions. And one of the reasons I think the Bears played so well is because they had 11 days between a Thursday night game against Washington and their next game. And I've noticed a trend. There are 5 teams this year that get the 11-day break, the longest time you can have between games without a bye on the NFL schedule, and the Bears made the most of it. And I point that out because now you got the late-night Monday flight back to Chicago, short week. You got to go to Dallas and play a Cowboys team that is very good, and Dak Prescott had a chance to knock the rust off, so we have the 3-4 Bears at the 5-2 Cowboys. I mean, this is a game that I think the Bears could win if they play like they do on Monday night. But, Peter, there's a chance they just went all in on trying to turn their season around to beat the Patriots. And now they got this short week challenge of trying to go to Dallas and knock off a pretty good Cowboys team. It's not going to look as easy on Sunday for the Bears as it did on Monday night.
Look, what has happened, I think, with Justin Fields, and I think we saw it, is that in the last couple of weeks, Luke Getsy, the offensive coordinator of the Bears, has said, I think Luke Getsy entered this year saying, I really want Justin Fields to be a mostly from the pocket guy. I don't want him exposing himself to injury the way that he had been. I want to make him a passer. You know, a guy who can run when need be, but I want him to be a pocket guy. And the last 2 weeks, here's what you've seen out of Justin Fields. 26 carries, 170 rushing yards. And Mike, you know, that is, any running back in the league would be thrilled with that because you're basically running for 8 yards a carry. So to me, I think Luke Getsy understands now that especially against a really good pass rush team like the Cowboys, okay, I'm going to use Micah Parsons' instincts and speed against him. I'm going to have our quarterback, who's a great athlete, also. I'm going to have him stay in the pocket. Here comes Micah Parsons, and then it'll be a design run all along. So we'll see what happens. But I think, you know, you're going to see every week now a lot more design runs for Justin Fields than you saw very early this season.
Yeah, that game against Washington a couple of weeks ago, all the runs were scrambles, no designed runs. And I think they finally realized this is the guy we have. This is great coaching. I don't care what my system is. I don't care what my playbook says. Here's what my player does well. I'm going to let him do it. And I'm going to take advantage of those skills. Because once Justin Fields takes off, the Bears gain yards, the Bears score points, and the Bears pulled off that unlikely win in New England on Monday night. All right, the Giants at the Seahawks. The only game the entire week, 15 games this weekend. This is the only one with 2 teams above 500. The Giants 6-1, the Seahawks 4-3. And the Seahawks are favored by 3 at home. That's not a surprise. The Seahawks have been better than expected. The Giants have been better than expected. This is one of those where something's got to give. One of these teams that's overachieving isn't going to win the game, barring a tie, Peter. Can you see Daniel Jones, Saquon Barkley, Brian Daboll and company taking it across the country and knocking off a Seahawks team that I think people are still having a hard time accepting is a very good team?
The reason that they're having a hard time accepting it, Mike, is that the Seattle defense, it's not the Legion of Boom, may never be the Legion of Boom, but they got a bunch of young players who are playing great right now and who are playing at a level that sort of, kind of goes against what recent John Schneider drafting had been. Because for a few years, they had some dry spots in the draft. But Schneider has hit a gold mine this year. And I'm talking about even lower picks like Kobe Bryant, a young cornerback. And I'm talking about guys, obviously everybody talks about Tariq Woolen, the corner who had interceptions in 4 straight games. But they're playing very well on defense. And I think the key thing in this game is that the Giants basically went to Jacksonville and said, we're going to have to run great to win this game. And they did. I mean, Daniel Jones and Saquon Barkley, both over 100 yards. And I think the one thing you're seeing with the Giants, they can adjust to a weakness that they see in a defense. I think the difficult thing right now in this game is that, Seattle has played well against the run. Maybe not, as well as the best teams in the league, but they have played well against the run. And the Giants, I don't know if they have enough receivers, tight ends right now to make impact plays in that game. So to me, if the Giants don't run well Sunday, Mike, I like Seattle and I like them a lot.
Well, and one of the reasons I like Seattle is Ken Walker III is phenomenal. And we made him our offensive player of the week at PFT, which means absolutely nothing. But the point that I made when I tweeted out the image of Ken Walker as the offensive player of the week, or rookie of the week, not offensive player. Burrow was the offensive player. But Walker could be the best rookie running back since Adrian Peterson in 2007. And that upset some Giants fans who said, well, Saquon Barkley had 2,000 yards from scrimmage in 2018. Okay, fine. But he never had that vibe that Adrian Peterson had in 2007, where he can do this, where he turns the corner and he's gone, or he can hit it between the tackles and he's gone. A home run lurking on every snap, every touch. That was what Adrian Peterson did, and we all collectively said, holy crap, what are we witnessing? Now, we haven't seen much of it from Walker because he was out week 1 as he recovered from some sort of abdominal surgery. It was a hernia. It wasn't a hernia. Who the hell knows? He had surgery and he missed that game, and they've eased him in. And now, especially with Rashad Penny done for the year, you get a full dose of Ken Walker. Peter, he's going to have a 200-yard game soon. He's trending in that direction. And they're recognizing, and Pete Carroll's going to, hey, this guy can get it done. We've been waiting for a great running back who can stay healthy since Marshawn Lynch. We have him. We're going to use him. And this could be the day that he gets 200. It's going to happen. It's going to happen at some point this season.
Yeah, and Mike, I think the one thing that you say, and you're absolutely totally right, is that Seattle wants to be a running team. They're one of those teams that, even though Geno Smith leads the NFL in completion percentage, and he's completing 73.5, and he's been fantastic. At the base of it, Pete Carroll wants to be able to be the best running team in football. And right now, if you look at it, it's amazing. When Chris Carson was, had to retire because of injury in the offseason, you say, wow, there is a real war horse that Pete Carroll loved to ride. But they drafted a guy, and you're right about this, Mike. I don't think they could have seen Kenneth Walker be as impactful as he is very early. And on that 74-yard run the other day, you just looked at that and said, this is a confident runner. And, if they keep running the ball like this is going to be a playoff team, Mike. I know people are going to say, oh, it's early, everything like that. Tell me right now, why won't Seattle make the playoffs? They're going to make the playoffs. And the reason is they're playing football the way Pete Carroll wants to play and the way he preaches it should be played.
And it's happening in the season in which his approach is being validated by the performance of his former quarterback who wanted to be the guy who runs the offense. Now he's the guy that runs the offense in Denver, and the offense isn't running for Denver. 49ers and Rams. San Francisco 3-4. They've lost 2 in a row. The Rams coming off of their bye. They're at 3-3. The game is at SoFi Stadium, which is basically Levi's Stadium South. Kyle Shanahan has beaten the Rams 7 straight times in the regular season. The Rams won the one that counted last year in the NFC Championship. But, Peter, the 49ers are 1.5-point favorites. I feel like we're just waiting for the Rams to wake up and be the Rams they were last year. And they still have some good parts, but they aren't getting it done. This is just a bad matchup for them because Kyle Shanahan, if he has enough key guys healthy, he's going to know what to do to win this game, and he needs this one. You can't fall to 3-5 if you're the 49ers, especially with the Seahawks playing well. This is their arch rival. This is why they went after Christian McCaffrey. The Rams would have otherwise tried to get him. McCaffrey's got another week in the system. I have a hard time believing, even with 2 weeks to get ready for this, that the Rams are going to be able to find a way to solve the 49ers in the regular season.
First of all, I find it absolutely amazing that in calendar year 2022, this will be the 4th time that the Rams and the 49ers have played. Because think about it. They met in week 18 last year, which was in January. Then they met in the NFC Championship game in late January. And now they've met twice. They will have met twice in October. And the one thing, Mike, we talked before, what a vital game this is for the Cleveland Browns. You can't fall to 2-6 and have any hope for the rest of your season to mean much, okay? The San Francisco 49ers, if the Browns have the most important game in the AFC, the 49ers have the most important game in the NFC for a very simple reason. You lose your first 2 after making this mega trade for Christian McCaffrey. And if McCaffrey doesn't own this game, rushing and receiving, there's going to be an awful lot of questioning inside the 49ers about who exactly they are. Fallen to 3-5 after making this big deal. This game is crucial for the Niners.
McCaffrey was on the field for 22 offensive snaps last weekend against the Chiefs, 28% of the total load, 10 touches. And, they were putting out the word he was going to have a red zone package. He had 1 red zone touch. He had 10 in all. What's your over-under for Christian McCaffrey touches now that he's had more time to get himself properly ensconced with the team?
Ensconced in velvet, Mike?
Exactly. I was hoping you would catch that.
I would say over-under for his touches will be 26. And I realize that's a lot. But I think Kyle Shanahan understands exactly what this game is. This game is vital for the 2022 playoff hopes of the 49ers and to be able to stave off Seattle and the Rams and win this division. So I think he takes his new toy, who's been healthy the whole year, and he says, I need him right now. And what's more, Mike, Christian McCaffrey wants this. As I wrote the other day in my column, one of the things that Shanahan said to me, and this was well reported last week on all the shows, is that when they just completed this trade, John Lynch said, you going to play him this weekend? And he said, no, I can't do that. I wouldn't do that. But when they got on the phone with McCaffrey, one of the first things that after the trade, one of the first things McCaffrey said is, hey, coach, I need the iPad with our playbook. How soon can I get that? And he's 2,000 miles away at this point. And he said, well, you'll get it in the morning. But, I think right then they knew that they were going to have a package of plays ready for him. And you heard Christian McCaffrey after the game on Sunday when he said, I'm going home and I'm going to study tonight and all week, and I'll be ready for a full dose next Sunday. So I'd be surprised, Mike, if they didn't feed him early often, and my over-under is 26.
Hi, it's Mike Florio. Thanks for watching PFT on YouTube. Hit subscribe for the latest news and analysis from Pro Football Talk.